So good evening, and welcome to the New Bern Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, August 17th, 2026. We are going to start with the roll call
Commissioner Bengal,
here.
Commissioner Coghill, Commissioner Copeland, Commissioner King,
Here,
Commissioner
present.
Pierce,
Here.
Commissioner Reddick,
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any public comments?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Wendy Carr has asked to speak to the board. And she provided that by the day.
Okay, could you come up front, or if you don't mind? Come up where?
Right here, that way
Yes,
the owl can
the
pick
owl
up
can
for
pick you
the
up.
commissioners that's online.
Right, yeah, it might pick
That'd
you
be
up right there. Thank you. And just a reminder, you have 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Is it two? I'm sorry.
I think it's
Four. I apologize.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all right. Thank you for allowing this public comment. Okay, the first question is, what private entities qualify for free advertising on the Housing Authority's social media account? And who determines if they qualify? And who posts the free advertisements? And I'm not talking about the NC Works, the job fairs, employment trainings, things like that. Talking about private entities. And a couple of months ago, I asked you all, if housing authority money was being, used for the Better Vision Housing Corporation, Walt Bellamy Housing, the operational and maintenance costs. And I'm just wondering if that's being used, how much has been spent since December, I think it was December 2024, when we all purchased the houses. And how is that money being tracked through the actual budget for the housing unit? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other public comment?
No one else asked to speak.
Are there any, I feel like we've been gone away for so long. Any chair comments? Anyone have any comments on the board? As of yet, I'm sure you will, but okay. All right, so let's move on to the approval of the minutes. Hopefully you've had time to look over those. Are there any comments concerning the minutes?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as stated.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our minutes for June 15th, 2026 have been approved. Next on our agenda is the financial report. Already in your packet. Shay, you have the floor.
Hello. So we have made a few changes for the financial summary. We're still, well, for the financial reports, we're still going to be making some updates as we work this out. But our first page is the financial summary, summarizing some of the activity for the year to date as of June 30th, 2026. Did anyone have any questions on the financial summary? Okay. The next report is the balance sheet. Did anyone have any questions on the balance sheet?
Just real quick, Shay, I'm gonna go back, just for the
Okay.
good group.
Okay.
For the board members that were not a part of the finance committee, as Shay indicated, this is a new format for some of, so as we go through it, as you identify things that you feel like you want to see that's removed or added, just let us know. But a couple of things came up in the finance committee that we're gonna go back and add. One is, we used to provide, as it relates to the capital funds, the deadline dates that we needed to expend the funds by. So we're gonna work on adding that back. And then also the occupancy, that you see on that first page is a combined occupancy of both developments, which, represents Trent Court and Newbern Towers. Because those developments are separately funded, we're gonna go back, and even though we may show the occupancy of the agency overall, we're gonna go back, because it's important to note in reporting to you all what the Newbern Towers occupancy is versus the Trent Court occupancy is, because from HUD's standpoint, they're not providing us a report as a combined, both of those stand alone separately, okay? I'm sorry, Shay, I just wanted to make sure that we put that on record.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, and the next report is the income statement. Before we would just show the budget comparisons for each report. Now we just have a summarized income statement for all of them, and we still have the budgeted comparison for each report. Is there any questions on the income statement? Okay. The next report is the Ross budget comparison report. And was there any questions on the Ross comparison report? All right. So the next report is the Trent Court budget comparison report. And if you read in the financial summary, there was a mention of the revenue being lower than the budgeted amount as of the year to date, and that's primarily due to some of the CFP grant that we have not drawn down or had as much activity as budgeted for the year to date. And did anyone have any questions on the budget comparison report? Okay, and the last report is the Newbern Towers. And in that financial summary, there was mention of there being a overspend for expenses, and largely for Newbern Towers that was due to a increase in the maintenance and repair spend for Newbern Towers. Did anyone have any questions on Newbern Towers report?
And
Okay,
again, just for the good of the group, as you all know, we're still looking at the deferred maintenance needs in the envelope of Newbern Towers. Even recently, when we had the Inspire inspection from HUD, they identified some areas like in the stairwells, et cetera, that has some mold or other things where moisture is getting in. And so we're going through that, getting a quote right now to make those repairs. So I'll update the board as we continue to go, but it's those kinds of things as Shay just indicated, that's costing us more to operate the towers than it did in the past because of those deferred maintenance. What's important for you all to know, different for Newbern Towers and public housing. The public housing program has the capital fund that covers the capital needs of the housing, the public housing units. Where in the multifamily, because it's a project-based Section 8 program, we receive subsidy from HUD and then the tenants pay, but there is no funding in the multifamily program like there is in public housing for the capital funds. So whenever the expenses exceed our budget, we have to take from our reserves. At some point, and Sabrina asked this in the finance committee, you know, are there opportunities for assistance from HUD to assist in some of those repairs? But let me share this with you. If your reserves are over a certain dollar amount, what HUD is gonna say to you, as an example, if we needed $500,000 to put a roof on and fix the elevators, they're gonna come back and look at our reserves and say, before you can apply, because they have an emergency fund, but before you can apply for that emergency fund, I can't have $2 million sitting in reserve and then call them and ask for emergency funds to fix that. They're gonna say you gotta expend your funds first. Now, what they don't want you to do is spend your reserves down to a level that then you can operate if something happens going forward. However, they are going to require that we spend down to a certain level before we can then apply to the emergency pool of funds. So I just want to make you all aware that we'll continue. That is why we're trying to really look at the fiscal needs there at Newbern Towers, because if in some point it's going to require a major renovation and we look at that, then sooner than later, bring that to you all, look at that, and then begin to make application for the redevelopment of Newbern Towers, which comes from a different funding source altogether. And then we don't have to go spend everything that we got in reserve. So just want to kind of keep y'all informed and up to date on the why.
Can I ask you a question about the utilities for Newbern Towers? City of Newbern has gone up on their electric, and I don't know if that was budgeted. This number is off enough that maybe we didn't consider that, because I've checked, the Trek Court is within range.
Yeah.
But this is way over. I mean, you're 18,000 over in the water and 32,000 over in the electric. I'm just wondering, did we not put the increase in when we did the budgeting?
Yeah, so I think if I'm correct, I think the city's increase went in after we used our budget numbers last year. So when we look at the budget for next year, and if you all recall, what we were trying to do this year is begin to look at, to your point, look at some of the historical data and then build our budgets going forward based on that. So to your point, Sabrina, you're right. What we'll be looking at as we begin to look at next year's January 1/27 budget is we'll begin to look at expenses this year and then create a budget based off of actuals projected for next year. Now, at the same time, we send out letters to the utility companies to ask them in advance, do they expect a rate increase? And if they say no to us, then we go off of what we had in the current budget. Because otherwise we'll ask if you expect a 2%, 3%, whatever, then we kind of come back and ask from that standpoint.
So I know they had one last year, and then after the first of the year, they did do another one. But I just think to be over budget $52,000, that's a
Yeah,
lot. That's a
well,
lot.
and a lot of that, when you look at, so part of the problem is we are not regulating individual units based on what people can utilize. And now that I'm 63, I feel it a little bit. I get colder quicker than I used to. And so, and I say that to say that you go in some of these people, well, yeah, you go in some of those residents' apartments and we don't understand how they can handle all of that heat. And so, so again, we got a boiler system, we got some things from that scene.
I just wanted
Yeah, so,
to notate it.
yeah,
Looking at that, because like I said, Trent Court is under budget. So obviously we did some good, ciphering there to figure it out. But
Yeah.
we did.
yeah.
Okay, sorry, Shay, thank you.
No, you're fine. Was there any other questions regarding the financial reports? Okay, but that was all for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shay.
So,
We do need a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the financial report.
Is there any
Second.
further discussion?
Give me a second.
Who's second?
Second, Damon,
And
King,
Is there any further discussion about the financial report? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the finance report is approved. Next, we will have our executive director's report.
Okay, so we've sent to you all, an outline of some information regarding, some of the property that I did a presentation to the redevelopment commission last week about partnering with the redevelopment commission of the city of New Bern on lot 58 and 59 on First Avenue. You all were sent an email with the design of 4, which you have the floor plan in front of you. Can you go to the exterior? And then, so what we're proposing is to build 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath units there on that site with a playground in between the units and the parking lot. So that way it's some off-street parking that helps facilitate that. Has been discussed earlier. Those streets are extremely narrow, so it doesn't leave a lot of room. And because the lots are also not that deep, it also doesn't give us a whole lot of room to, as Sabrina was talking about, sidewalks and those things. So, definitely we'll look at that because we recognize that it's needed. But based on the current layout and size of the lots, we're proposing those 4 bedroom units as well as to build 2 single family houses. The architects took some designs from what already exists in the community. Some houses that were called the sister houses design. And so they took those architectural characteristics to design those 2 units. Carolyn, can you go to the next page? So those are some of the exterior elevations of the units that we're proposing to build there on First Avenue. They're very attractive. The one unit that is at the corner of First Avenue and Elm has more of a recessed porch. So each of the units have their own front doors going into those units. So those are the 4 townhome units that we're proposing. Carolyn, if you can go to the next picture. So that kind of gives you some front and exterior elevations to those units as well as the side elevation. Go to the next one, Carolyn. Next one. Okay. No, go back.
Yeah.
Go back. Okay,
Okay, this one.
yeah.
Okay.
So now go ahead and go to the next one. So that gives you the design of one of the houses that we would place there. So as you can see, it keeps with the characteristics of the houses there in the neighborhood, and that was important. And I designed it also, whether we build it on a built up slab or crawl space. And so some people will say, Reggie, what is a built up slab? So it is basically where we elevate the house off the ground, but it's filled in. So it's still built on a concrete slab. But if you were visually looking at it, it looks like a house that was built with a crawl space, but there is no crawl space. But from a visual standpoint, it's not where the house is sitting flat on the ground. So everything we're trying to do is elevate the houses. When you do that, it also gives a more attractive look from a streetscape standpoint. So from a windshield standpoint, it becomes even more attractive. You can go to the next one. So that kind of gives you a side view of those units that we're proposing. Next. And that just kind of, again, gives you some characteristics, again, keeping with the neighborhood, the window designs, the front doors. So those are, when you work with SHPO or National Park Service, one of the things they look at when you're designing around historical significance is they look at what they call the period of significance. So when were those houses originally built? And so you go back to the period of significance and then you design units from that. And that's really ultimately what we're trying to do here.
But I want to clarify too, these are not in a historic district.
Yeah.
But we
No.
are going to at least.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it the character.
With the character of the neighborhood.
Of the neighborhood,
Right,
yeah.
because I know that carries a whole nother.
Yeah, no,
So-
but we're using that as an example, that for us, we're trying to meet and mirror that guideline. Right. Next. So again, that kind of gives you that side view from Elm Street for that first unit. So as you can see, gives a little porch and a more recessed porch there. Next. So that gives you the view from down First Avenue where the playground equipment would be. And if you've been on First Avenue, this would be a very nice attractive units to build in that area. Next, Kim. And then that gives you an aerial view,
So those two separated ones, those are the
single family.
single family, what are they, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, or
So those are right now designed as 3 bedroom units.
the separated ones are
Yeah.
3 bedroom, but
And-
it's 4 bedroom in the,
All 4 bedroom, 2.5 baths. The
on
town,
the townhouse.
correct. And that is because when we did all of the surveys for the existing families in Trent Court, we're required by HUD to do what is called right sizing the families. So when a family is living in a 2 bedroom unit and should be in a 3 bedroom unit, when we begin to move them, we're gonna right size them, we're gonna put them in the bedroom size that they're supposed to be in. So currently, we have some families that because of the number of people in the household, if we build new units, we need to build some 4 bedroom. So based on our proposed plans for Trent Court site, for the Days Inn site, as well as Ardennes, those buildings and those units don't support a 4 bedroom unit. So we're looking for an off-site location to build those larger family units opposed to trying to build them in a mid-rise type building, like using old school or using a 4-story building that we're looking at as Days Inn. So we're taking those larger families and making it more conducive to build it off-site where it's consistent with what a neighborhood environment would look like for those units. So that's why we're proposing that. Next, Carol. So again, that gives you an area view. If you look at that unit that's extended with the from on the back, that's a handicap accessible unit. So we're making sure that one of the units meet the ADA requirements and have that bedroom on that first floor. So we're accommodating that in our proposed design. The redevelopment commission loved these designs. We presented to them last Wednesday. And the lots currently are not on their for sale list because they had a plan to do some stuff themselves. But they voted unanimous after our presentation to put those lots back on their for sale list. Because we are a quasi-governmental entity as the Housing Authority, we meet the criteria with them that they don't have to go through the upset bid process. So once they place those back on, our attorneys will be working with the city's attorney for me to make a formal offer at the appraised value. So they're not giving these lots to us. We're asking to purchase these lots at the appraised value. And so that's what we're gonna be working through with the redevelopment commission on these lots.
That was always the vision for the redevelopment, was to
Yeah.
do exactly what we're doing here. I'm very pleased.
Okay, next, Karen. Again, that's another visual area view of what we're proposing. So that gives us the background of what we're doing there on First Avenue. The next thing, just to briefly discuss with you guys, is we had a follow-up meeting with the law firm and our representatives at Ward & Smith, myself, and the leadership at Craven Terrace, taking specific your wishes and mine of what we desire to better understand the relationship. Because I wasn't here during that period of time, and none of you all were on the Housing Authority Board at that time. So to better understand the relationship and even it enlightened the ownership group from Craven Terrace, the managing partner as well, because they thought we were pretty much out of it as well. Come to find out, Stephanie and Jamie pulled up the organizational chart. We've sent that to you guys. So in the limited partnership, because it was a separate entity set up that had a separate board, as if you all recall, what has been a little over a year, Jamie? So it's been a little over a year that they divested themselves, those individuals that were sitting on the board. So as it does or requires in that previous dissolution clause, it reverts back to the Housing Authority. Therefore, you all are now the owners of that entity and represent the board of that entity. And so, and we went through that process as well to make sure that. So under the general partnership, Transformation Ventures, which is a affiliate of the housing authority. And the difference, just real quick, between an affiliate and an instrumentality, let me go back. You are an instrumentality, right? Today. So an affiliate is what it used to be. An affiliate is where an entity of the housing authority that was set up, you all as the board represent 49% or less of the ownership interest. An instrumentality is when the majority of the housing authority board members sit on that board, and therefore it becomes an instrumentality. Because that you all represent 100% of that board now, then Transformation Venture Capital is an instrumentality of the housing authority as it stands today. If in the future you want to change that, you can, but as it stands right now, it is an instrumentality, you control that. So as part of that control, it's like having a child. So that is your child. You are the parent of that organization, okay? And so what we're trying to do is identify what that parental rights are and what our roles. We own, as that parent entity, 51% of the GP. Now, that don't mean nothing right now, okay? Because that 51% is literally 0.01% of that entity. Because it's a tax credit development, the tax credit syndicator owns 99.98% of that for the 15 years. It's a 10-year tax credit, it's a 15-year total compliance, okay? So what we're looking for is at the end of that 15-year time frame, so now I'm going from parent to marriage. Okay, so how do we get a divorce from each other? And how do we separate? Because it's easy going in, it's harder going out, okay? So what we're trying to do right now is begin to set the stage for the future. We had a very productive discussion with them, very informed sharing of information as it relates to our intent as an agency and what our goals are when we get to year 15. I'm planning, they put me in contact with the property management company. I plan over the next few weeks to do a full-blown tour of Craven Terrace because I've never done that. Meet with the organization. We now have established that we have a line of communication with them. So as complaints or concerns, while we still have a management company, and let me be clear, Brian Pullen's company, Craven Terrace Apartments LLC, which is a part of Evergreen, they are the general partners. So while we own 51% of the entity, they have the controlling interest to manage it daily. So we can inform them, we can share with them, but when y'all are talking to people in the community, don't misrepresent our 51%. We have a strong ownership interest, but we don't have the managing member interest. We're clear? So also refer those calls to me. So opposed to you all trying to articulate those to aldermen or people in the community, I ask that you refer those calls to me, whether it's resident complaints or community member complaints. Just say, call Mr. Barnley. He'll be happy to set up a meeting to explain it. That way it alleviates you all, as Sabrina says, it alleviates you all having to give out information that may end up being incorrect. And then I got to come back and fix it. So I just ask that you all give me the liberty to be able to do that on behalf of the agency. That'll help us alleviate any issues going forward. As we talked with them, they understand, they wanted to make sure we understood that we're not at year 15. We all understand that, but we did share with them our intent and what we want to try to do. I think they're on board with that as well. And so we'll continue to keep this conversation going. As part of my resolution or request this evening is for you all Because in order to know where we're going, we gotta know where we've been. So I like to be able to go in and go ahead and complete what, the same thing similar to what we're doing at Newbern Towers, is I want to be able to commission Dominion, who is one of the largest providers of review of property similar to this, where they'll come in and do a complete study of Craven Terrace and give us an assessment of that. So one of the resolutions this evening is for you all to give me permission to contract with Dominion to get that PCNA started. And then that way they'll know what the status of it is and you all know. So then we can begin over the next 3 to 4 years to put in place what our exit strategy, when we take it back, what do we need to look
Or
at?
if you take it back.
Well-
Are we forced to take it? back?
No,
Okay.
so we own 51%. We would buy out their interest. Part of our negotiation is what that buyout looks like. Generally, it's exit taxes, it's a nominal amount. We would want to do that. We are the representative from this community. They are not. So my intent to you all would be, we would want to put ourselves in a position to take back Craven Terrace and then make a decision on whether or not we build a new development somewhere else and move those families to that new development and tear Craven Terrace down. Or make some ultimate decisions. It would be highly unlikely at that point, unless something drastically changes, from a funding source standpoint, that it would be feasible to go in and do a gut rehab on that development again. It's similar to Trent Court and, but again, those decisions not being made today. We just want to assess what the current conditions are in those issues.
So what we're voting on today is to hire this company to do a facilities assessment,
Assessment.
not a management, not a,
No.
what does this look like? Just the condition of the building and what it would be to either rehab it, rebuild it.
Yeah, what that potential cost would cost
Right.
us, so that way you all are informed and know we're looking at $10 million to really do this, or here,
Yeah.
these are the issues that we're talking about. So, that's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions? The resolution is in the back of your packet. So we will need a motion. I'll give you a minute to get there.
Jenny, you wanna highlight for the good of the group, what we,
Did you just,
sure,
before we do that, I have one more issue I would like for you just to address, just following up from our last meeting. That in our last meeting, you said the final release of the FEMA funds was due. It was expected in July. Can we just get an update on
Yeah.
that? I'm
So-
sorry.
No, that's fine. So FEMA came back, had several questions regarding the ball release. Those are the carvings on top of the building. So their concern, which we've addressed, but their concern was, how do we plan to store them? Are we planning to store all 34? And then they had instructions on with storing them. They had some specific rules and regulations around that. We wanted additional clarification because those carvings are 80 years old. Naturally, because they were put in there after the buildings were done. So they were encased in that way. So when you try to go take them out, some are gonna crumble, and what do they want us to cast them? You know, how do they want us to prepare if something goes wrong with some of those bar release? So we spent July going back and forth to come to that agreement. They gave us some instructions. We rebutted some of that. So we've come to the agreement. From all indication, they're comfortable with our responses. They've had no additional questions to our responses. We have a call with FEMA on the 27th. So I expect by the end of this month, that we get the final approvals. FEMA has been great as it relates to all of this. We've just been going through this with SHPO on SHPO requirements, but FEMA's been fine for months with what we're proposing. So it's not a FEMA issue, it's just answering North Carolina SHPO, which will make the next phase of everything go smooth as well. So we expect to get that approval by the end of this month. And then if that is the case, and they accept the instructions, my architect is ready. The first after Labor Day, he will then be ready to put on the street for bid for demolition, the Trent Court. We will put those bids on the street for 30 days. At the end of that 30-day process, we'll review those bids, and then sometime in October, hopefully the October board meeting would be my desire. Don't hold me to that, but that's my desire, is if all things goes well, my desire would be to bring to you all for approval of a demolition contractor in October. After that, if you all approve it, then we would be in a position to give a notice to proceed. My goal is to, even if it gets pushed back to November, my goal is to be able to give a contractor notice to proceed before the end of the year, and we can potentially start demolition in January.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, nope,
Hold you back.
nope, that's perfect, thank you, I missed that. And as it relates to, we put some language based on our attorney's recommendation, and I'll share that with, let Jamie articulate.
On the resolution. So going back to the Craven Terrace resolution. The resolution authorizes the executive director to perform a procurement search for a firm to conduct the capital needs assessment. The resolution does have a not to exceed amount of $90,000. That does not mean that the contract will be for $90,000. That $90,000 allows the executive director to get quotes from 3 different entities and then proceed. But the resolution also requires that he come back to the board for final approval before proceeding. But you're authorizing him to proceed with the search and hopefully finalizing capital needs assessment contract.
Okay,
If you want, although it's later on the agenda, but if you want to vote on that now, you certainly can.
okay, I think that, it would be wise to go ahead and do that. And I will entertain a motion for this resolution at this time.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 08.26.01, the Craven Terrace Project Capital Needs Assessment as stated.
Can I get a second, please? Second. Is there any further discussion concerning this? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you so much. Is that the end of your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We do have those items from New Bern Towers, Ross, Trent Court. Please just look over this. Does anybody have any questions concerning those?
Just again, Ross, you're doing a great job. I love your little written summary. It's really, I mean, your numbers are okay, they look good. But having this little written out really does, show what you're doing, and, your participation is great. And we just want our residents engaged. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much. I just see such a difference. Thank you.
And I've noted, Commissioner Bingo, your comments regarding the error in the Newton Towers report, and I've already sent an email to the manager that I'll talk to her.
I do fine. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the board concerning these?
I love the partnerships.
I know at one time, I'm sorry, I'm looking through this, but I know at one time we had talked, maybe it was the last meeting, about having a celebratory moment in one of our meetings for like one of our residents or something like that. Do y'all remember? Anybody remember me talking? No, it's been too long ago. Okay. I know we said it, and we thought it was a great idea to celebrate, one of our residents.
At each meeting, or, I mean,
Um,
once a year, or? I don't know.
we
I think
didn't,
it's a great-
we didn't,
Get
yeah,
that far.
we didn't get that far. But it was
think
an
it's a great
idea, and I could have sworn we talked about it, but. You know, we did. Okay, next thing on the agenda.
I do
Yes.
wanna, just as it relates to the Ross ladies, we are working to, so I wanna be clear. We are working and they are designing it, to put together, I've mentioned it before, but we're putting together a resident training program, for the resident, because housekeeping, how to maintain a house, all of those things. We have to start that before we build these new units. And so, because we're gonna have mixed income developments, we can't wait until these new units are built. Let's take Days Inn. Our intent is to apply for funding to start on the Days Inn project, application wise, this coming spring. We would get notification if we get approved, but this time next year. So we can't wait until we're 12 months into construction, because that building is gonna have 3 different income levels built in there. People need to be educated and trained regarding living in a interior corridor building where kids can't be running up and down the hallways, all day, all night without understanding, those types of rules. And the residents gotta be prepared for that, because here, the first thing they're gonna say is, you can't talk to my child that way, and et cetera, et cetera. And so we gotta go through a process of making sure that we're preparing our residents for what is to come, with an expectation that, just like we have in the towers, you need to know that when you pour grease in your drain on the 3rd floor, it goes down. And there's somewhere where it clogs up, and so, or your toilet overflows, it just doesn't overflow on the 1st floor of your unit. If you're on the 3rd floor, it's gonna overflow down to the other unit. So we're beginning that process. So it's, that's one of the main things that we're gonna be working on for new residents, through a new resident orientation program, that they go through that, as well as housekeeping inspections, that they have to attend these classes, and then existing residents, we're making a part of the requirement as well. But the ladies are working on that and doing a great job with that. But I want to make y'all aware that that's something that we're focused on, because these new houses have to be being able to be maintained in a particular way, or, it's gonna be destroyed pretty quickly. And we're making a major investment in this community for it to, be torn up in a year or two. So just want to keep y'all informed.
Is that something that can be advertised or should be advertised?
Yeah, that we're gonna be doing the resident, yeah, and so we, once the ladies finalize it, they're making some tweaks to it, and then we're gonna be rolling it out, and it'll be on our social media sites. We'll be highlighting that. They're working with community partners to be able to donate, certain items, supplies, et cetera, to be able to show, what product do you use? And you need to know that, while you love Clorox, you can't put Clorox on tan carpet.
Yeah.
So, it's just, again, those type of things that, I've been in this business 40 years, and I've gone into a whole lot of apartments where I see these light spots everywhere, and it's like, oh, I clean with bleach. I'm like, it's gonna change the coloration of the unit. So it's those things, but yes, we are gonna advertise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any other resolutions? I didn't see any.
No,
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So we need to go into closed session. I don't have pursuant to, I was gonna say I didn't have the statute.
You do, right, I'll give it to you right now.
Okay.
NCGS 143-380.11.
How many, rewind.
8-3, yeah.
Okay, so we will do it this way. I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to whatever statute.
Yeah.
he says.
That,
Can I do that?
is that a client attorney privilege?
It's 143-318.11 subsection A3, attorney-client consultation.
I was trying to write it down, but.
You don't need it. We got it.
All right, I make that motion that we move into closed session pursuant to North Carolina statute 143-318.11 subsection A3 to pursue attorney client privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. You're good at it. May I have a second, please? Second. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. We are back, oh, no, I'm sorry, we have a motion to come back into open session. And there was a second as well. And so I would need a motion to adjourn.
No
No,
action is taken.
thank you. No action was taken and
In
that
closed session.
in closed session. Okay. And thank you. And now I'd like to have a motion to adjourn. I move that we adjourn.
It was
All in
1 second.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you.